Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Tuesday. It's November 12th. It is 2024. We have an 8-game NBA slate to talk about here on today's podcast. Joined today by my good buddy Will Priester, ChiefJustice06. Chief, in-season tournament NBA time. 8 games to get us kicked off. No back-to-backs. Oh, it's a great time for some NBA.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting too because we're getting the in-season tournament with some big, heavy hitters out. There's some guys that are going to be out this first, this group stage. I think is what they call it, right, Steve? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, it's group stage. Yep.
Yeah, this makes it very tricky as we start getting closer. Excuse me, to the actual tournament because these games matter, and having some of your big guns not suit up, Stevie, could prove costly on the back end of this thing. Very interesting.
Well, I like it that they changed the name, right? They called it the NBA Cup this year, not the in-season tournament. It's the NBA Cup. We get kicked off with group play here on Tuesday. We have group play on Friday. I think it's like Tuesday, Friday for like the next month, right? And then the quarterfinals are December 10th. So
can I ask you like a quick question right before we get into the full-blown analysis? So here's my question. Do the Cavaliers and the Celtics really fight to win this cup? Being that the Cavaliers, the Celtics, and the Golden State Warriors, ironically, and I'm throwing those specific teams in for a reason. So we know Boston won a championship last year. We know the Lakers won the inaugural NBA Cup. But those three teams, because I feel I'm bringing up Golden State because I feel like people don't realize this team is 10-1, 10-2, 9-2. Like they're not losing many games right now, and I feel like it snuck up on everybody. So my question is, how much do you feel like these handful of teams that have really good records possibly want to go and try to get this NBA Cup to help bolster their season on the front end? Just
100%. I mean, we saw it last year. Like teams took this tournament very serious last year, and like I think it's more than like the incentive of like the money and stuff. It's more of like bragging rights. Yeah. It's more of early game seasoning matters. And it's something you and I talked about a lot last year. Is like, hey, we're getting meaningful games in November. We're getting meaningful NBA games in November. We're going to get guys playing 35-plus minutes, really set rotations in November. And I think that's kind of why I get so excited for the NBA Cup in-season tournament thing. But, yeah, I mean, I think all roads lead through the Cavs right now. I mean, they are playing incredible basketball. I thought it was really interesting that the Group C is the Cavs and the Celtics. They're both.
That's what I'm saying.
They're both in that same group. Yeah. So, I mean, Group A, it'll be really interesting to see who comes out of Group A. We got my Magic, your Hornets. I would think the Magic would have been in a much better spot had Paulo not gotten hurt, because they were playing really good basketball. But yeah, I mean, I think Group C is a really interesting group as far as the Eastern Conference. And then the Western Conference, I mean, you were talking about Golden State. You got Golden State, Denver, and Dallas in the same group. That one's really interesting. The Suns and the Lakers and the Thunder in the same group. And then you got the Rockets and the Timberwolves and the Clippers and the Kings in a group. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, at the end of the day, this in-season NBA Cup, I'm going to call it in-season tournament, 100%. All the time we talk about it. You and I are doing a lot of podcasts together over the next, 2 months on these, NBA Cups. And we'll probably call it the in-season tournament at least 100 times instead of the NBA Cup because I think the in-season tournament sounds better. So that's just my personal preference. So just kind of looking through some of these groups earlier and now looking at them again, it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a really fun time for the NBA.
Absolutely. Thank you, Stevie, for appeasing me and talking about that for a few minutes. But I thought it was something interesting that I came across. So thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man.
Oh, I mean, yeah, we got to talk about it. Like it matters, right? Like at the end of the day, these games matter, situations matter. But yeah, we get started with the NBA Cup. Gotta get used to calling it the NBA Cup here. Atlanta at Boston is where we start. 228.5 total. Boston's a 15-point favorite in this game. Bogdanovich, Bufkin, Hunter, Krichik, and Trae Young are out for Atlanta. Obviously, Trae being the big name that's going to miss this game for Atlanta. And then on the Boston side, Porzingis is out, and Horford and Tatum are both questionable. It definitely sounds like Tatum is on the more questionable side than the more probable side. So we'll talk about that in a second. But let's start here with Atlanta, the situation that's in front of us. No Trae Young, no Hunter, no Bogdanovich, no Krichik, who was playing some minutes. What are we doing with the Hawks here in this tough matchup against Boston?
Well, Stevie, I think with all these main pieces out, like, we're just going to have to play some of these guys. Like, look, man, I get it, but Dyson Daniels is 6K. I'm so sorry, guys. That's a yawn. We're going to get that yawns over 1. We're done with those. Reese Sage 5,500. Like, I just think the roles for these guys is going to be big because and the other big thing, too, is what if we actually get Tatum sitting out? I know Brown is back, but so I think playing these Atlanta guys is fine. They're still going to push the pace. It's still going to be a fun team. So I like all these guys, to be honest. Like, I like them. Keaton Wallace can get a few extra minutes. Like, it's a good spot. Excuse me. It's a good spot for minutes, not a good spot for production. But if the game stays competitive, both will be true in the end.
I think we all are going to like Atlanta more if Tatum sits in this game for sure. Very small sample size, 71 minutes when you take off Bogdanovich, Hunter, Young, and Krichik. Jalen Johnson has a 37% usage rate in 71 minutes with these guys off the floor. That's massive. If you get a 13% usage increase and have a 35+% usage rate per 36 minutes, he's averaging 60 fantasy points when you take these guys off. If we look more on a point, like a minute per basis, 1.68 fantasy points per minute in 71 minutes with these guys off the floor. That's massive. So obviously really interested in Jalen Johnson. I'm interested in Ricochet. I'm interested in Daniels. If this was a normal basketball game, I probably would have less interest in Atlanta. But because we're adding in the in-season tournament and the NBA Cup, this game, Atlanta's going to do everything they can to try to win this game. There's too much incentive for this tournament not to try to win these games. So even in a situation where Atlanta's down like 18 in the fourth quarter, they're probably still running these guys out there.
Yeah, they want the point differential. They want to get it down.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. So you can lose a game and still make it out of the group stage. Probably can't lose 2 games and make it out of the group stage. And you can't get beat by 30 and make it out of the group stage. So every point matters, and that's something you got to remember. Do I think Boston controls this game? Yeah, I do, even without Tatum. But, I mean, it's hard not to like those 3 guys. A lot of interest in those 3 guys. And then, like you mentioned, you get a little bit of value on guys you could take some shots on, like Keaton Wallace at 3,200. I think he'll end up being pretty popular today. But I like Jalen Johnson a lot on this slate.
Yeah.
Boston side, I mean, it all comes down to Tatum playing or not playing. If Tatum's out, Brown's probably the top play on the slate, not even just for this game. Jaylen Brown without Tatum crushes. White crushes. I would have no issues playing Brown and White together if Tatum sits. If Tatum plays, I don't have a ton of interest in Boston outside of maybe Tatum, White, or Brown, like solo. But I think it's a huge increase if we get news that Tatum sits here. If Horford sits, Neemias Queta, probably one of the top plays on the slate, getting 28 minutes against like Capella and Okongwu would just be an incredible spot for him at 4K today.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Love Boston. Even if Tatum plays, I still like Boston. And you've been a fan of Jaylen Brown to kick off the year, and obviously, man, that's paid off for you. Similar to where I've been a fan of Cade Cunningham, and it's paid off for me. So we've got, and I haven't been a huge fan of Jaylen Brown, but clearly, if Tatum's out, then he's going to be the guy. Another guy, Derek White, will absolutely should be vaulting. And maybe even Peyton Pritchard, Stevie, in a spot where, like we talked about, they want to win these games. Peyton Pritchard should be able to pick up some production here. You mentioned Queta. I assume Queta will get the start. He's 4K, should be able to put up a nice score.
Yeah, Horford's out. You have to like him. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, Boston could end up having some value also that we can pair with some of this Atlanta stuff. And Stevie, if Tatum sat and Horford sat, this game could be fireworks. So this is a big game to kick off the night. If for some reason Tatum sits, like the game essentially in theory should be closer.
Did you see the Tatum ankle sprain?
I didn't see it. No.
Giannis should have got a flagrant. Giannis was underneath Tatum with his foot, and Tatum landed on Giannis's foot, and that's how he sprained his ankle. Should have been a flagrant. Should have been a flagrant one. Anyway, so watch the news on Boston. Great spot. And it's the flip side for Boston. How we were talking about how Atlanta wants to keep this game close. Boston wants to win this game by 30. Cleveland's in the same group as Boston. One of these two teams or both of these teams want to have the best point differential just in case the game that comes down between the two of them is going to matter to get out of this group stage. But they want to have the best play
from last year. Remember, Golden State from last year trying to win by 10 or 12, whatever this weird thing was. Them Phoenix or something it's important. Love it, man. Love it.
So it's the opposite side here. The opposite side is Boston wants to win this game by 30. So you might get Derek White running into 6 minutes to go in the game when they're up by 25 type of situation instead of where they would normally take him out at the 10-minute mark. All right, we got Miami at Detroit, 218.5 total. Miami a 1.5-point favorite. Jimmy Butler out. You mentioned at the beginning of the show we have some big names out here for the start of this cup. On the Detroit side, Klitman and Thompson remain out. It was great news to hear that Thompson has been cleared and should be coming back very soon. Duren is questionable, and Stewart is probable. I know he's on there as a question mark, but he sprained his ankle the other night, but he's on the probable side. Starting here with Miami, no Jimmy Butler against Detroit. Fire up Tyler Hero, right? 7,400. We've been doing this for years. It's just one of those situations when Butler doesn't play, we play Tyler Hero. Obviously, you could take shots on Bam, especially if Duren doesn't play. I don't hate the Miami side of this game. Not typically a team I play a lot of, but I think you could definitely take shots here with no Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, and I'm even willing to play Terry Rozier in this spot now. I'm willing to roll him out at 6,100. This is definitely a guy that could get there. Jaime Jaquez at 5K. I'm willing to roll him out. And part of that, Stevie, is I'm not completely sure outside of Tyler Hero who the other guy's going to be. Now, clearly Bam is 8K, and so Bam's already a big piece for this team. But there's going to be one other guy that gets there. And I think it's one of Jaquez or Rozier in addition to Hero and Bam. And so I will have some exposure to those guys also. Kevin Love is back. I'm not expecting him to play big minutes, but he is back.
15 minutes probably?
Yeah, but I do think, I wouldn't mind playing Jovic if I knew they were going to give him 25, 30 minutes. I'm just not sure. But Rozier and Jaquez, I feel very comfortable saying one of those two is the third wheel in this game.
Yeah, I just pulled up Court IQ really quick, taking Jimmy Butler off the floor. Tyler Hero in 127 minutes this year without Jimmy Butler on the floor, averaging 1.33 fantasy points per minute.
Yeah,
Hero's going to get his shots, and the good thing about Tyler Hero now is you can play him as point guard and shooting guard, which I feel is awesome. So Just really like Tyler Hero. I don't mind the Rozier call. I like the Jaquez call. And then, yeah, I mean, Kevin Love, he's not going to play enough yet to matter. Going to the Detroit side here, I mean, I know it's a tough matchup, but do we play Cade in a game that matters like this? Like, I mean, does Cade play 38 minutes, 40 minutes in this game and get up 25 shots? I mean, I think that's a possibility.
Listen, Cade has been one of my favorite rosters, Stevie. I think I've rostered him almost every slate, and it has paid off. I mean, Stevie, he's on a stretch right now, over 50 points in 4 of the last 5 games.
Yeah.
And so, and it's not all against, bad teams. Like, he's played the Lakers, he's played Charlotte, he's played Atlanta, and he did that against Houston, which is a slower placed team. So, like this, Cade's been great. And he's 8,900 now. So, like I said, Steve, he's getting closer to that $9K price tag, which is fair because he's earned it. And today he gets the Heat without Jimmy Butler, and he's at home. I'm still in on the Cade Cunningham train. Still not sure about Duren, but Stewart, you talked about him at 5,100. I'm okay with that. I wish Tobias Harris was 5,900 today again. I would have fired him up at 6,300. I think he's fringe, Stevie, if you will, but not a must play. But Cade, I think for me, he's the guy, man. I played him all year, not going to stop now.
Was that "Don't Stop Me Now"? Yeah, I mean, I don't even necessarily hate like a Tobias or an Ivy here either. Like, these are playoff games. They're not playoff games, but they're playoff games. They're the same mindset as playoff games. So, I mean, you get the 35 minutes from Jaden Ivey here at 6,200. You get Tobias playing 35 plus minutes in this game. So, just kind of have to play this out. If Duren is out, like, Stewart plays 30 minutes here at 5K. Especially with Bam on the other side. So Isaiah Stewart, another guy that I like. Charlotte at Orlando. Hey, our teams kicking off the group play against each other. 213 total here. Orlando is 6-point favorite. On the Charlotte side, Bridges, Jeffries, Richards, Williams out. Man questionable. On the Magic side, Paulo and Whittle Carter Jr. remain out. Let's go Charlotte here first. I mean, ceiling-wise, LaMelo has the ceiling. He's playing incredible basketball to start the season. He has 59 shot attempts over the last 2 games. What are your thoughts here on your Hornets?
So, so clearly LaMelo is the guy, right? Like, we don't want you to go out fading LaMelo. Like, if you're going to play the Hornets, you definitely want to start with him. But Stevie, we talked about this last week, I believe it was, maybe right before Friday, or it was one of the days. I think it was right before the Friday slate. If we were wrong, then guys, just correct me. But who did we say was going to get the minutes in this situation? We talked about Cody Martin. We talked about Grant Williams. And what do you know? Look at what these guys have been playing over this stretch, Stevie. Grant Williams, 31 minutes against Indiana, 38 minutes against Philly in an OT game. Similar to Cody Martin. We saw him. I think he was 3,800 at that spot. Cody Martin, 27 minutes against Indiana, 32 in overtime game with Philly. We knew these guys were going to get it. The unexpected wild card here, and I'm not planning to necessarily load up on him, Stevie, was Diabate. I didn't expect Diabate to get as many minutes. Played 29 against Indiana, 23 against Philly. So I'm saying if he was a little bit cheaper, maybe he would be in play. But it's LaMelo, it's Martin, and it's Grant Williams for me. Miller 6,600. I get it. Like, he's fine because his minutes are secure, and I definitely think he's in play also. But that collection, all these Hornets we named, the cheaper guys, along with LaMelo, along with Miller, like, that's it. This team is thin right now, and that's who we need to be playing.
If Man sits, it'd be really interesting to see what they do with Seth. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know if I would necessarily want to play Seth Curry, but if Man sits, I feel like they're going to have to play Seth. And I feel like he's going to try to prove himself if he gets like a 25-minute game. So if you're playing large field tournaments, maybe you could take a shot. But Cody Martin is somebody that I'm really interested in here at 4K. They priced up Grant Williams a little bit. they didn't really price up Cody Martin. So I have a lot more interest in Cody Martin than I do Grant Williams. LaMelo and Miller, they're going to get their usage. They're going to get their shot attempts. Those are your two main plays from the Charlotte side. Going to the Magic side, I mean, my boy Goga is going to dominate inside against your Hornets today. I feel like
5,300. I couldn't believe this price tag, Stevie.
Yeah, I mean, we see DraftKings do a really good job, and like we give them crap about a lot of stuff all the time, but we've seen them do a really good job of adjusting pricing, and they just haven't adjusted the price for this guy. He's starting in close games. He's playing 27 to 30 minutes every night, and they're just not adjusting his price. I mean, he is a main play for me today. Like he's a guy that I want to have in my main build.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Somebody I'm going back to the well on, Stevie, and he hasn't had a big game recently, but Jalen Suggs here. A big game is coming again soon, right? Like he doesn't just score 50 fantasy points and suddenly fall off of a cliff. Like, so I think Suggs is the guy that I'll play in this spot against the Hornets. Obviously, it'll be priced up, Steve. We talked about KCP last week and, what he's been doing. Well, he's priced up a little bit more. But that night I talked about him, Steve. He put up 28 fantasy points. Once again, because all these guys are missing, his contributions are very important for this team. So at 4,100 against the Hornets, I think I'm still right on the edge of interest. I think I still play him, Stevie, for what it's worth. But I'm with you. Goga at 5,300, leading the pack today. With Jalen Suggs right behind for me.
KCP probably plays 35 minutes in this game if this game stays close because they love his defense. So that's going to open up shot attempts. Being on the court like that much opens up shot attempts. Anthony Black, I still think like there's a road for Anthony Black to get 25 plus minutes. They've just kind of played in blowouts and been blown out a little bit recently. I mean, Suggs, Franz in this spot could crush. I know we keep talking about these 8K players, but I mean, Franz is just his usage is through the roof right now. So he's obviously somebody that has some upside here. All right, moving on. We got Knicks at 76ers, 217 total. The Philadelphia side here, a 1-point favorite. Precious remains out. Mitch Robb is out. McBride is questionable, and Payne is questionable on the Knicks side. And then on the Philly side, Tyrese Maxey's out. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. There's so many today.
Joel Embiid not on the injury report. We'll talk about that in a minute, but we'll start here with the Knicks side first. I mean, it's your time to shine, Brunson and Cat. I mean, right? Like at the end of the day, this is the time. This is one of the situations they brought Cat in for. I think he has 50+ point upside in this matchup. Outside of those two, I mean, they priced up OG to 59. I still think OG is playable at 59. He's just playing too much right now. Yeah, I mean, chat talking about the Embiid and Cat matchup. It's going to be fantastic here. What do we like here for the Knicks, Will?
Yeah, man, I like this game as a whole. In terms of the Knicks, Cat has been my guy this season. Like, I think I wrote Cat up every start last week, Stevie, if I'm not mistaken. I think I wrote him up every start last week. You want to know what those starts were? 60, 55, and 43 fantasy points. I at least wrote him up for the 50 and the 60, I think. Like, it's just the opportunity is there for him, right? Like, and here's the thing. Like, you think in your mind, Stevie, that, well, why couldn't he be this consistent with Minnesota? Well,
they had Rudy Gobert too.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's just too many hands in the pot. Guess whose team this is? This is Brunson's team, and this is Townsend's team, and everybody else comes along for the ride. And you're seeing the big performances pay off. So Towns at 8,700. The way he's been playing, Stevie, Towns would probably be, I would say, 9,500 in my book, with upside for 10K if he keeps putting up these 50, 60 fantasy point performances. So I will continue to roll him out while he's under 9K. I'm with you on OG at 5,900. I think he still needs to be getting played for sure. I'm fringe on Brunson because of the situation. We know he's going to play the minutes. He's 8,800. How comfortable do I feel getting two Knicks in my lineup in the 8K range, Stevie? When there's other, that's my issue with him and Brunson. I think I split them for what it's worth and get one or the other. I think I make a group and get one or the other. But I think either one of them has got the upside to get it done. But I don't mind pairing either of them with OG or with a Hart, just hoping that Hart piles up massive peripheral stats in this game.
If McBride sits in this game, does Brunson, Towns, Hart, Bridges, and OG play all play 38 minutes apiece, like over 38 minutes apiece? You got to unmute your mic. That's your over half a mute.
Yeah, that's my over mute for the day. Most likely, man, because they're already getting 35-ish.
I was going to say, these guys are going to play as many minutes as they can handle in this game.
Yeah.
A lot of upside potential for any of those five guys with that type of minutes and this type of format. Maxey out for Philadelphia. Embiid back potentially. We haven't really heard anything as far as like minute restriction, but we assume he'll have a minutes restriction that'll probably come out. I would assume 25 minutes here for Embiid, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I mean, it was a knee injury, so I'd be shocked if he played 35 minutes in this game, and I wouldn't be shocked if he played 35 minutes in this game because it's the Cup. Paul George, 33 minutes the other night. That was really good to see. He's 8,500 though. I think that price tag is still a little steep for me, but I mean, Kyle Lowry is going to play. Just doesn't get a ton of like usage. McCain has played 30 minutes in back-to-back games. I think he's the guy that you're looking for on the value side here with Maxey out. What are your thoughts here when it comes to Philadelphia?
I was so glad you brought up McCain, because while I like Lowry, McCain for $1,100 less with basically what I consider similar upside, no brainer for me, especially if he's going to play 30 minutes. With him be back, should have some few extra potential assists there, or at least I hope so. With Maxey out, yeah, this is why you brought Paul George in, like to help shoulder the load, but I can't risk it at 8,500 right now with Embiid coming back. Embiid playing 25 to 30 minutes, Stevie, 25 to 28 minutes is a big impact on anybody on this team. So I don't think I'm going to be rushing to play Paul George. And then Derek coming in clutch here, because I was just about to head and talk about the fact that Kelly Oubre was 7,300. And boy, does that feel like a gross misprice. I don't know how that occurred with Embiid coming back. So I don't get that at all either, Derek. I totally agree. They just made him an automatic X button. I mean, I would understand more if Caleb Martin was probably 7,300, and maybe I wouldn't. That's probably an exaggeration. But my point is, it's McCain. I do think Lowry's still viable, so I want to make that clear, Stevie. I just think McCain is better. And that's about it for me. Paul George, I think, is a little bit too expensive, and I can't play Embiid at 10-4 with minutes uncertainty.
Yeah, I mean, McCain is a rookie that was drafted, right? Like this is their guy. I mean, at the end of the day, Jared McCain is a guy they brought in, they drafted, and I mean, everyone kind of knows who this guy is. I don't even follow a lot of like college basketball until like March Madness type, and I mean, I know who this guy is. So I think that anytime you get a guy like from Duke that has any kind of talent, you're going to get a guy you're going to know who the kind of guy is. I mean, drafted first round, I think it was 15th or 16th overall. So they're giving him run, and I don't expect Embiid coming back to really change that for him. I think he gets plenty of minutes here with Maxey out. So I just think he has way more upside than Kyle Lowry. Like it's not even remotely close in my opinion. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right, we got Toronto at Milwaukee. 228 total in this game. Milwaukee a 7-point favorite. Barnes, Brown, Olynyk, Walter out, quickly questionable, Temple doubtful, Middleton out for Milwaukee, Toronto very short-handed still. I mean, no Scotty Barnes, quickly potentially back in this game. We'll see how that kind of plays. He played Saturday and Sunday, 26 and 27 minutes. But he sprained his elbow over the weekend. So, I mean, the guy's just like, I don't even know if you necessarily want to play him with a sprained elbow. You kind of have to shoot in basketball, and a sprained elbow isn't an injury you kind of want to see. I mean, RJ Barrett, another 8,300 player. Milwaukee has not been like this outstanding team this year. I wish Grady Dick was a little bit cheaper. I think you could potentially take some shots on him if he was cheaper. Mitchell, I just hate his role. He's not a high usage guy. So, I mean, it's just one of those spots where it's really hard to like get excited about playing any of these guys. Maybe it's Abaji at 5,800 who we get excited about playing.
Yeah, maybe it is Stevie, but I don't even think it's him for me. I think all these guys are priced up appropriately. Yeah. And I just don't see much meat on the bone for any of these guys. So I'm down to just pass on this offense unless now if Quickly sits. Let me say this. If Quickly sits, Stevie, I have a lot more interest in RJ Barrett because now he's got 50-point upside. Like that's my defining moment here. Quickly sits, Barrett's in play for me because I've seen him get it done this season.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't love the RJ Barrett price just because, like, look at all of the 8K plays that we have. But if Quickly's out, like you mentioned, his usage is going to be 35%. I mean, there's nobody else that's going to get usage on this team. RJ Barrett's going to get a ton of shots up here. If you want to get really contrarian on this slate, I don't hate Jakob Poeltl. He's not my favorite, but I think he's a potential interesting contrarian play today. Going to the Milwaukee side, I forgot to rule out that Dame was out. I forgot to write that down. So that was my bad when we were originally talking about it. I don't typically pay up for Giannis. It might be a day to pay up for Giannis, Will. In-season tournament, NBA Cup, Giannis 11-3 against Toronto with no Scotty Barnes to kind of slow him down. Giannis is going to have a field day today. Absolutely love Giannis. Outside of Giannis, I mean, you're going to get some value here. I mean, AJ Green going to potentially play some minutes. Wright is minimum salary at $3K. He's a risk, but I feel like he's going to have to play with no Dame here. I mean, they could potentially play Ryan Rawlings, but I think they end up playing like the more veteran player with Wright. What are your thoughts here on the Bucks?
So I'm with you. Like all systems go with Giannis. I will have some shares though of a Gary Trent, of Torian Prince. Like these secondary guys that are all in the 4K range, Stevie, 3K, 4K range, like these are guys I'm going to have to consider because Dame is vacating. I think Dame is averaging somewhere around 25, 26 points a game, like plus his minutes. Like, that's a lot of production. So Torian Prince was already playing minutes anyway. I'm not sure how they're going to handle Connaughton at 3,100. Like, does he get the 20-something minutes? I don't know. But I think Trent and Prince are going to be plays for me for sure, and obviously AJ Green too. But I'm saying those other guys are definitely guys that I want to play. And then Brook Lopez, Stevie, he's 5,500 now. He hasn't been as productive this season, but he's going to get 30-something minutes here. No Dame, maybe they need him to shoot a few more shots. I'm fine with him at 5,500 even in this spot. So But Giannis is the primary guy, man. I mean, he should go nuts here.
Yeah, Yeezy in chat's like, are we going to see Giannis point forward? Yeah, I mean, I feel like Giannis is going to have the ball in his hands a ton in this game, which could potentially lead to some extra minutes for Bobby Portis. We might see the Bucks play a little bit bigger in this game. I didn't think about it really until just now, but you could potentially see a few extra minutes for Portis. I think today's the day you pay it for Giannis. And I am someone that hates paying up for this guy, I think today's the day. 228 total. They're a 7-point favorite. They have one of the highest implied team totals on the slate. No Dame. Chat saying, S. Mitch says Trent revenge. Is it? Is it though? Yeah, SGA smashed today. You're right. Alvarado did not smash. He did. We had some rotten avocado today. That's for sure.
Yeah, SGA was one of my biggest plays I wrote up today. So glad that came through.
There you go. Yeah, 7 stocks. Anyway, pay up for Giannis today. I mean, that's where my initial lean is. We got Phoenix at Utah, 232 total. These next 2 games are fantastic. Phoenix is a 3-point favorite. No Kevin Durant. He's out. Another one of these big names that you mentioned at the beginning of the show. Nurkic is questionable as well. And then on the Utah side, Hendricks is out and George is questionable. Start of the Phoenix side, no Kevin Durant. I mean, here we are. Devin Booker, 88K. Bradley Beal, 7K. And they're getting the Utah Jazz in a game they want to win. Sign me up. I mean, I'm just going to say that right now. Sign me up for these 2 guys. I'm going to play some Tyus Jones at 5,400. Absolutely love the Phoenix side of this game.
So, Stevie, when we talked about the Knicks and those 2 8K guys, I was saying I probably want to split them. I don't see any reason that we need to split Beal and Booker because here's what we have to understand too. Like, coaching changes matter. And listen, they don't have the same coach out there. This team looks different. It feels different. The vibe of this team is different. Like, if you watch the play, listen to the locker room, listen to the guys talk about it. They love this change, Stevie. So I am full steam ahead here with Beal. Full steam ahead with Booker. You talk about Tyus Jones at 5,400. Like, he's going to get all the minutes he can handle. A sneaky play that's not so sneaky. He's more expensive than I want him to be, Stevie. But, man, I feel like Royce O'Neal is going to have a slightly expanded role here. So I like him. We saw Grayson Allen play 27 minutes. He's 3,700. I don't mind that. Now, I'm not saying he's going to light the world on fire, but in terms of squeezing him in, I think I'm okay with it. And if Nurkic were to sit, we're going to get Mason Plumlee at 4,400. Like this, Stevie, this could be an incredibly interesting spot on the back end of this slate where we're getting a few cheap pieces. Love the Suns, man, and love what they've done with the coaching. It's fantastic.
Yeah, Plumlee played 26 minutes the other night when Nurkic left the game.
That's what I'm saying. This could be awesome.
I mean, I think that's a great call as far as like Plumlee is concerned. I'm not trying to hog the mic about this team. No, you're good.
Steve, I do think Budenholzer has done something to revitalize the way this team wants to play. Because last year, they didn't look like this. They didn't look energized. It just wasn't there. All right, I'm done. Sorry. Love Coach Budenholzer, by the way.
No, you're good. I was looking at Nurkic. I mean, Nurkic played 9 minutes his normal stint and then 6 minutes. So he played his normal stint in the first half, and Plumlee still ended up with 26 minutes. So if Nurkic ends up sitting in this game, I think that Plumlee is a fantastic call. We get a lot of upside here with Tyus Jones at 5,400. If I had to pick over Booker and Beal, I'd probably pick Beal just because he's $1,800 cheaper, but I think they're both excellent plays today. The Utah side here, I mean, I like the Utah side of this game. I think that with George being questionable, we got to pay attention to this because if he were to potentially sit in this game, I think Colin Sexton would play 35 minutes if George sits. Sexton at 5,900 in a run back spot seems like a really good play. This just seems like a game Markkanen shows up for. I feel like Lauri Markkanen is just a little underpriced at 7,400 for this type of game with the NBA Cup and the in-season tournaments. So I don't mind Markkanen. And I also think that like John Collins plays 30 plus minutes in this game. So I think you get a little bit of upside there with him as well. I like the Utah side just because I like the Phoenix side so much of this game. and I want to kind of game stack this game.
Excuse me, Stevie. Yeah. I'm perfectly fine with that because Phoenix, I think, Phoenix is still giving up some, like getting Beal at 7K is value in this spot. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
he's got 50-point upside. So the 7K is a version of value. So we got George questionable. I get it. Like Sexton 5,900, you could roll him out there. Obviously, Jordan Clarkson 5,200. Stevie, he picked up a few extra minutes. You could roll him out there. You talked about marketing at 7,400. I really like that price. This is probably
intriguing. It's so intriguing.
It's probably one of the more stackable games in terms of mid-range pricing on this slate. So I'm with you 100%, man. And I don't know. Like, I know Walker Kessler isn't going to get like 30 minutes here, I don't think. But he's flashed some upside, Stevie. Like, I think he's worth a flyer, taking a flyer on him in tournaments.
Yeah. The only thing that I'll say about Walker Kessler and potentially Plumlee on the other side, like, this game could go small if Nurkic sits. So I think I like Kessler more if Nurkic plays, but I don't hate the call. The other fantastic game, we got Dallas at Golden State right out of the gate. Here we go. Group play, 231 total. Golden State, 2.5-point favorite. Dallas side, Exum out. Washington, doubtful. Lively, questionable. Golden State side, Wiggins, questionable. We'll talk about Golden State in a minute. I have some interesting questions. I kind of want to bounce some ideas off of you first. Let's talk about this Dallas side. I mean, Luka and Kyrie together, obviously some upside here. Gafford has been crushing with these guys out. Do we play Gafford if we get news that Lively and Washington are both going to be out? What are your initial thoughts here on Dallas?
Yeah, I think Gafford is in play if both of those guys are out, no matter what. Like, I think, we get to them. The real question is, do you want to play Najee Marshall? I think the answer is no, for what it's worth, because he's 4,600. So what do we do with Klay Thompson here? Because this is like, okay, Stevie, hear me out. Now, I want to make this very clear. Very clear. I am not a guy that just loads up on Narrative Street. But if you don't think Klay Thompson going into Golden State after leaving and coming in with this new team, I gotta think Coach Jason Kidd is going to be dialing up a few set plays to get Klay open for three. I get it. I'm not a Narrative Street guy, but I do think it's different a little bit for the greats. And I do think Klay is one of the greats because he's played on one of the all-time great teams. And now he's going back early in the season. NBA Cup, group stage, need to get the win. He's 5,100. I'm going down Narrative Street today, Steve. I've got my signal light on. I'm already turning. We're headed down Narrative Street. Give me Klay Thompson at 5,100 as one of the biggest tournament surprises of the night.
All right, I hear you. I mean, he doesn't have to score as much on this team, but if you think back to the first game in the Dallas uniform, he put up 40 fantasy points. He is very capable to still go out there and hit 5 to 8 threes in any game. And we all know Klay can shoot in this gym. No one is going to doubt that Klay can shoot in this gym. I'm in. You talked me into it. I'm in. Yep.
Steve, if he was 6K, I wouldn't consider it. He's 5,100 today.
Yeah, I'm in. I mean, I'm going to regret playing him, but I'm in. I'll just leave it at that. Will's gonna get a text from me. You talked me into playing Klay Thompson. What are we doing tomorrow night? So, all right, Golden State side, it's Olympic Curry at 8,300. I mean, he played 36 minutes the other night. He took 23 shots. I've been talking all season that I feel like Curry's upside has been limited. it's not limited in this game. Clay or Steph is going to try to take this game over against Luka and Kyrie and Clay. Steph's going to get 20 shots, at least 20 shots in this game. I think you have to take some shots on him today. Like, if this was just a regular basketball game, I'd still think I'd take some shots on him because of the Clay thing. The fact that this is the NBA Cup and the in-season tournament, Steph is going to play 35 plus minutes. My question to you is, do we see Golden State tighten up the rotation a little bit because it's the NBA Cup? Or do we see Golden State keep doing this like no one's playing a ton of minutes kind of thing? I'm really interested for future NBA Cup games on how Golden State handles this game. I am for sure taking shots on Steph. No matter what, I'm taking shots on Steph. I just want to make that very clear. But the rest of the team, if they could get some extra minutes, I mean, like Draymond, you get like playoff Draymond here. I think you at 5,500 thinking playoff Draymond, you're like, 40 fantasy points is very doable. What are your initial thoughts with this Warriors rotation heading into this, and what are your thoughts on these players?
I actually think Steve Kerr is going to keep this crazy rotation. Here's why. Here's why. This is a man that literally went into the Olympics and barely played Jason Tatum. I got to trust that whatever he's thinking about right now, he's giving it to us. I still think Curry is massively in play because I think Curry's going to get the minutes. But guess what? I could be wrong because maybe he kept the rotation loose for these moments, Stevie. But so
whatever he's doing is working too, right?
Right.
Look at their record. What are they, 8-2 or something like that?
Winning, playing great basketball. So I still like Curry. I'm a little iffy on these other guys, but I think it's worth it to run them some. Like Draymond at 55, he's still going to play close to 30 minutes. Maybe you dial it back on a guy like Kuminga. Maybe you dial it back on like Podsy, but and Podsy is 4,600. So I'm okay with it. But I think Curry is your primary and a few of these secondary guys. But I don't feel like we have to play some of these Golden State guys.
Yeah, very interesting. I'm playing Curry. Like, I feel like his ceiling is too high in this type of environment not to play him today. I mean, he's coming off 36 points against OKC. Kind of took the game over. Hit 7 threes. Like the Steph Clay combo in this game, and like running back down the court, talking smack to each other, and like they're just gonna fuel the fire, and they're just gonna keep shooting. And like you brought up excellent points with Clay, in my opinion. Whether it works out or not, I think the points and the mindset is right, like spot on. I think that this is just one of those spots where you take some shots on Steph. I'm going to play him in my main lineup. And you take some shots on Draymond. I feel like, as much as I hate to say it, like these are the types of games that Draymond Green shows up for. And he's 5,500 and he's probably going to play 35 minutes tonight. If this game stays close, which it should, this should be, this game probably the best game on the slate to just watch and enjoy basketball. I'll probably have this game up as we're recording tomorrow night, like just enjoying this game because I think this game is going to be a lot of fun. And I think that this is the type of game you put Draymond Green on triple-double watch at 5,500. We're talking about a guy that's 5,500 that we're potentially putting on triple-double watch. So just throwing all that out there. Really like Draymond today. I think I'm going to build my teams today around Giannis and Steph. That's where I think I'm going to build my teams around today. We have a lot of amazing plays today, but I think I build my teams around Giannis and Steph. I think Steph is too cheap. All right. Minnesota at Portland. 220.5 total here. Minnesota 9-point favorite. Nobody on the injury report for Minnesota. Tybal out for Portland. So basically two teams that are full strength. We'll start here with Minnesota first. All this talk, right? Like all these players that we've talked about. Now we get to talk about Ant. I mean, again, a young player that is extremely talented that can take over a game. Anthony Edwards can score 40 actual points in any game. He's going to be shooting a lot here. What are your thoughts here on Ant?
Yeah, like Ant,
Minnesota.
He's 8,800. Yeah, like Ant, he's 8,800. And Stevie, you mentioned it. The 8K range is just loaded today with great players, like not marginal players, Stevie, great players. I actually think Randall's in play here too. Like we've seen Randall have some nice games against Portland. I like it. I do think Gobert's in play at 6,400. Now I'm not going to rush to play him, Stevie. That's just he's a little bit cheap. He's a guy that can get you 40 plus, so I think he goes in the pool. But Ant-Man at 8,800, man, definitely a favorite. You know, we don't have to sell you on Ant-Man at that price in this spot against Portland.
Anybody else though? I don't like. I feel like Julius Randle is going to potentially go very low owned today, and he can go for 45 plus. So I don't hate that. Mm-hmm. I don't probably get to Rudy Gobert. We have a lot of value at center that we talked about early in the games. I mean, Goga at 5,300 is just a staple for me today against Charlotte. We've been playing the centers against Charlotte for years, it feels like, and Goga just autoplay for me at 5,300. So yeah, I mean, I probably don't get to Rudy. I maybe get to a little Julius, depending on how many teams I build. I like the in-season tournament. I'll probably get excited and play too many teams today. But yeah, I mean, on the Portland side too, like I'm not really excited about Portland, but they're really cheap in a game where it matters. So is there guys you could take chances on? Yeah, I mean, you can. Grant has shown some upside this year at 6,100 against Minnesota. I don't hate that. I think they tighten up the rotation a little bit in this game. So a guy like Simons is potentially playable at 6,500. Portland's just kind of awful. I don't want to say like they're awful, but they've looked awful to start the season. What is it? I think they have like 2 or 3 wins. They just haven't been playing good basketball. Their offensive rating is not great. Is there anything that you like here for Portland?
Not really. Like you said, you mentioned Simons. He's 6,500. Like I'm okay with that. But generally speaking, Steve, I'm not thrilled about Portland today.
I'm not either. I mean, there's so many good plays that it's just like, how do I get excited about these plays?
Yep.
No, I mean, I'm right there with you. I'm going to play a lot of the Dallas Golden State game, and I hope that's the hammer game instead of this game. So, all right. We've talked about a lot today. It's a fun slate. Let's play the morning grind game, and then we'll get out of here. Favorite play under 5K to go 7X. Who do you got?
Man, I think there's some interesting plays. Got to be one of my Charlotte guys. Give me Martin at 4K.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's just too cheap. We talked about him a lot when we were talking about that game. I like him as well. But mine today is going to be Jared McCain at 4,300. No Tyrese Maxey. He's played 30-plus minutes in back-to-back games. Talented rookie that can score and score in bunches. So I feel like Embiid potentially helps him. You know, you see defenses focus on a guy like Embiid, and you're going to get some open shots. So I like McCain here at 4,300. Over 8K to go under 5X. A lot of fantastic plays over 8K today. Who is somebody that you might stay away from?
I think Embiid is the obvious answer, but I'm going to stay in that same game and go Paul George against the Knicks.
All right. I am going to throw a curveball. I know baseball season is over. I know my shoulder hurts really bad just thinking about throwing a curveball. I'm going to say LaMelo Ball goes under 5x today, and it's scary because he's just been smashing. But I feel like the Magic are going to try to slow this game down. I could see LaMelo going for like 45, and it's scary. But I think this is the spot. I'm going to be underweight on LaMelo. So there's so many good 8K plays today, Will. Like I like LaMelo a lot, but there's so many 8K guys that can go for 50 plus as well. So I'll probably end up under on LaMelo today. Favorite 6X play? Who do you got?
Oh man, Stevie, one of my favorite plays on the slate. I talked about it. This is a guy that just keeps getting it done, game after game after game. Stay in that same game. Give me Karl Anthony Towns.
I'm gonna go to a cheap guy. Give me Goga at 5,300 to go 6X. Getting Charlotte. Oh, I love this spot for Goga. In-season tournament. Hopefully he gets his 27 plus minutes. I think he absolutely crushes in this spot. Goga, favorite 6X play today. Will, we have a lot of options for this answer today. Who is your favorite GPP ceiling play today?
I'm probably going off the board a little bit, just because I think this guy is. I think another big game is coming soon, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just way off base, but he's been doing it. Give me Cade Cunningham against the Miami Heat with no Jimmy Butler. He just keeps getting it done.
I think the easy answer here is Giannis.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to say Giannis either. I want to be Captain Fun today. Give me Steph Curry.
I actually thought you were going to go Jalen Johnson here because of the usage increase.
Oh, dude, I really like him. I think Steph has the upside to score 40 plus, and I mean he's the reason that everybody calls me Steph. Is your name Stephen? No, it's Steven. No, it's Stephen, and that never happened until Curry became a thing. So everybody calls me Stefan now. So we have this like connection that people don't even know about. So there you go. What games are the in-season tourney? All 8 games. All 8 games. So Tuesdays and Fridays for the next month are all of the in-season tournament. I think it's the 3rd of December or something is when the like semifinals start or whatever. But every Tuesday and Friday for the next month, basically, are the in-season group play tournaments. To answer your question in chat, let's get weird GPP play of the day. We got some options, Will. Who do you got?
I hope this didn't get too weird. I don't think he's going to get ownership because he's been failing. Give me Jalen Suggs at 7,400. Love him against the Hornets.
This is why I was laughing. My let's get weird GPP play today is Jalen Johnson from Atlanta. 8,600. His price tag should help keep the ownership down today. There's a lot of fantastic plays. We talked about it. What was it? 1.6 something, it was something ridiculously high. I don't have it up in front of me anymore, but he just absolutely crushes with Trae Young off the floor. It's an incredibly tough matchup against Boston. If this was a regular game, I probably don't have a ton of interest, but the fact that the point differential and all of that comes into play, give me Jalen Johnson at 8,600 here. Yeah. Any bets you like for this slate?
Stevie, funny you mentioned it. Going right back to that game, give me the Hawks plus 15.5. I think what are we talking about, Stevie? Teams are fighting for point differential. They want to keep this thing down. Boston could be up late 20 with 4 minutes to go. They mess around and pull these starters, and Atlanta leads theirs in, and they get this thing down to 14, 13, 12. They don't want to lose by big numbers because they want that opportunity to get in there. Give me the Hawks plus 15.5.
Hey, I mean, I hear you. I think Boston tries to win the game by 30, but I think Atlanta has –
If Tatum sits, this is coming down to 10.5, 12.5.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah, I don't disagree at all. There's no lines that are like jumping off the page to me, just in general. So I'm going to avoid that, but I do have a couple props I really like today. I've already bet both of these as we were going. I have Goga over 18.5 points and rebounds. I think he's hit this in 4 straight games ever since he kind of went into this 27-minute. So really like Goga points and rebounds at 18.5. I think that number is way too low. I wouldn't be shocked if it ends up at like 20.5 by the time this game starts tomorrow. So I bet that one. I bet 2 units on that one. So that's how much I like that one. And then Curry over 25.5. Absolutely, just I'm in. I'm in. I'm just saying that, like I'm so in on Steph in this spot. Whether it fails or not, we'll see. But I'm in. I think he gets his shots up in this game.
Yeah, man. I don't mind that at all. I'm not crazy on the prop game right now, but I'm going to Goga because I want to see what that rebound prop is, just because. And lo and behold, they don't have it. Oh, yes, they do. 9.5. Okay, over. Easy.
I mean, I felt like his point rebound prop was just too much or like too low to pass on. I just think that number is silly to me. So, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Negative, brother. This is a fun pod. This is a real fun pod.
Oh, I mean, listen, I was so excited that we got to get this in-season tournament going together because both of us, we love this tournament. Will and I talked about this tournament for the last 5 years. I know it's only happened for the last year, but we've been saying, like, man, how awesome would it be to get meaningful games in November? And we have, and you can see the excitement out of us because, like, this tournament just brings that excitement. Yeah. The NBA should have done this 15 years ago. So really excited for this in-season tournament. I'm really excited for this slate. I appreciate everyone. I hope everyone has a fantastic Tuesday. If you haven't already, subscribe to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind YouTube page. You can find me on Twitter at Stevietpfl. You can find Will on Twitter at ChiefJustice06. If you ever have any questions, always feel free to hit us up. Have a fantastic Tuesday. We're back tomorrow talking hoops. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you then.